Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. On this channel we'll be making a lot of recipes together, exploring menus around Ann Arbor area of any items that are vegan or gluten-free. Recently I've been trying to find out if I have celiac disease because I have a lot of symptoms that align with that. So if you have celiac or are vegan for any other reason, this channel might be a pretty good resource for you to maybe try any of the recipes that I'm making or any of the spots that I go to eat, because I'm always trying to eat things that my body feels good with. But anyways, back to today's video. Today we'll be making a gluten-free vegan lasagna, which is really good. I have mastered my recipe at this point. I've been making this for years. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, folks, and these are all of the ingredients that we will be needing for our lasagna. I have unsalted tomato sauce. I have extra virgin olive oil. I have onion, garlic, black pepper, salt, Italian seasonings, crushed red pepper, and I have 3 of the Kite Hill ricotta. We'll be mixing this with some seasoning for inside the lasagna, and then we'll be using Chow's shredded creamy original for the top as like the mozzarella for the top. And then I have gluten-free lasagna here. Just to let you all know, these aren't vegan. They are made with brown rice and eggs. They're made in Italy. These are the ones that actually work the best for my stomach. I do eat eggs personally, so if you want to grab yourself a vegan gluten-free pasta, you can do that. This one isn't actually vegan, but it is gluten-free. All the rest of the ingredients are gluten-free and vegan. So I did want to clarify that in case somebody wants to go to the store and try this stuff out. You can find all of these ingredients at Whole Foods. As well as those ingredients, I also do have the 3 pepper blend, which we're gonna dice up. And I have a package of baby arugula that we will saute in the sauce. So without further ado, let's get chopping. All right, folks, so let's get chopping. So first you wanna peel off the onions. I'm sure you all have used onions before. I might actually use more onion than this, so I'm gonna grab another one. But you just want to go with the grain of the onion so that you can get little strips that will kind of all cook at the same timing. Woo! As each other. Little strips there. And I'm just gonna use this bowl for now to set all of my prepped onions in, because I have not started heating up the pan just yet. I get all of my produce at either Kroger or Whole Foods because they have good organic options. I eat all organic. Now I'm transitioning totally into gluten-free. I've been baking gluten-free, and I've been eating gluten-free pasta for a while, but now even when I'm baking, it's all gluten-free. I tried to make a batch of cinnamon rolls like last week on my days off, and it kind of turned into like a very dry cinnamon like coffee cake, and I was like, what? So it's kind of like an experiment when it comes to first time baking gluten-free. But I did make some pies for Thanksgiving that everyone loved. I made apple, pumpkin, and those two were gluten-free. And I also made a peanut butter pie, which I will be making a video on. I'm gonna change the recipe just slightly because I'm gonna be making it gluten-free from now on. I used these cookies before that aren't gluten-free, but now I kind of want to make it completely gluten-free. Ooh, the onions are getting to my eyes. Because last time I ate the peanut butter pie with the cookies from the store, the vegan cookies from the store, it hurt my stomach. So next time I'm just gonna make peanut butter cookies and use that for the crust. But you all will be seeing that recipe at some point. I don't think I'm gonna need all this onion. I like a more garlic forward tomato sauce in comparison to onion forward. I'll use it like this much, so it's probably the equivalent of like one large onion. And then I'll put all of this stuff in my scrap bag. I put all my scraps in, like from vegetables and stuff, into this bag because eventually it's gonna be a very tasty vegetable broth. Oh my god, it smells so good. There's like jalapeno bits in there and stuff too, so it's gonna be like super flavorful. I just want to get all this stuff kind of like prepped so that while I'm cooking, I'm not like trying to rush and prep. I kind of like to prep everything that needs to be like peeled and cut kind of before I start the heating element. I really love cooking, and it's really better for your body anyways to know exactly what's in your food and to cook with all the ingredients that feel best in your body to you, whatever you find like works best in your body. For me, I found my body doesn't process gluten or dairy or meat really how it processes like fruits and whole grains and vegetables and beans. All those things my body literally loves. No problem digesting them, not even like a hiccup at all. But yeah, with the other things I learned slowly, I just kind of suffer, even if it's subtle. I kind of suffer when I eat those things. So I'm making switches in my diet to cook with ingredients that are good for me. And I hope that you all are also finding out what your body wants and what it doesn't want, and doing everything that you can to learn more about your body and what it wants and what's healthy for it, and making adjustments as you can. I know that not everybody's system is as sensitive as mine. It's always just best to just find what works for you, right? So that's all that's happening here. But I'm gonna finish peeling all this garlic and I'll be right back with you. So I'm gonna get this back into the freezer where I keep it. I'm hoping that I can fill up this bag pretty soon because it's gonna be tasty when it's done. If you have ever made any vegetable stock or broth, put it in the comments below because I would love to know what else you add to it or what all you put in your bag when you save up for it. There's a lot of like herb scratch. When I made chili oil, I put like the leftover chilies in here from like after the oil went through. There's all kinds of scraps of vegetables and stuff in here. But whenever you get to the pot part, like when you put it in the pot with all this stuff, if there's anything else you added or if you've done it multiple times, what you loved most about it and what you made with it, I would love to hear about that in the comments. Because the only purpose here on this channel is to share, to learn, and to grow together. So I would love to know what your favorite things are to make with it, and if you've ever made stock yourself. I wanted to do it for a very long time, so I just got a bag out eventually and just started accumulating it. So eventually I will make my own. I know French people, they do it like all the time. They just throw like carrots, celery, and onion into a pot and boil it. And they make their own stock all the time with like fresh whole vegetables instead of using scraps. But I guess this is my way of like recycling or using every bit of the produce that I have. I don't know. I just kind of thought it would be a good idea so that I didn't have to throw this outside in the garden and give it to the microbiology. I could use it in the kitchen still and use all of its flavor. So either option's a good one because the microbiology would still make your fruits and vegetables that you're growing taste amazing. But yeah, I chose to do this just to see if I liked it. Alright, so here's the garlic for the lasagna. Like I said, I love garlic. You want to make sure, however you're making your food, it tastes good to you so that you get the most joy out of it. What's the point of cooking if you don't really love it? The process, the result, all of it. It's a way of creating something. It's beauty. Alright, I'm gonna wash my hands really fast. And let's get these peppers all chopped up. So this recipe, I've made it a lot and I finally love how it's turned out. So I kind of just do the same thing ever since then. Typically I do use fresh herbs. You saw the herbs at the beginning that I'm going to use. Typically I do use fresh herbs, so that is one difference. But it's still gonna be amazing, so I'm not fazed by it. This is a lot of peppers. And they were frozen. I put them in the fridge a little while ago to kind of, maybe I should use the big chopping board. My stovetop is clean. I cleaned it after the last time I used it, so, which was this morning. So don't worry about that. Okay, that can be washed. Okay, yeah, let's get these peppers down in size, cause I don't personally want to eat like a big long pepper in my lasagna. I just want like a diced pepper in there. And this adds more flavor than you would think. And I also have mushrooms that I'm gonna put into the lasagna, but I should probably get those out. I don't need to chop those, so. Boy, I'm a little messy. You could also just buy like 3 peppers. If I do it fresh like I've done it before, I get an orange, a yellow, and a red. And I use like half of each of them. Because this is kind of a lot of peppers. I might not end up using all of these and just put them in a container. So now they're diced. I'm probably gonna use like, picturing the whole lasagna. Because I don't want it to be pepper heavy, you know, but I do want the flavors. So I think that's enough. So I'm gonna put the rest into a little container here. And I'll just put these in the fridge because peppers are really good in the morning and I eat eggs, so I might just make a little fajita, egg fajita. Okay, all right, so the peppers are processed. So I think this is the time to get the pot heating up for the vegetables. Okay, clean. All right, so I'm gonna get the peppers started in here. Originally, because I'm anemic, I wanted to cook the peppers in here. But looking at the size, I don't think I can use this. So I'm gonna put this away. I need to get a bigger cast iron because I just found out pretty recently that it's really good to cook in cast iron if you're anemic. So I'm gonna open the other bottle of oil because this one is done. Y'all will learn I'm not really, I don't hold back on the oil. Oil is good for you, so I definitely don't hold back on it. All right. That's probably a good amount to get the onions and peppers going. The pan is heating up as we speak. So if you are using fresh herbs, this is the time once the oil is heating up. Once you drop a piece of water in and it goes, then that will be the time to put the herbs in right before you put the peppers and onions in. But I'm not using fresh herbs, so I'm gonna use dried organic herbs. I get these ones from Kroger, but I love this brand. This brand is amazing. So I get their spices whenever I can. I like the bottle more for reusable purposes because it's got a metal top. These ones all have plastic tops, so they're not my preferred, but yeah, I still do reuse them. So you gotta think, it's a whole lasagna. Yeah, I think that's good to start. I wanna get my wooden spoon out. Whenever you start with the herbs, it helps them, you know, get their flavors going. And then I like to get the peppers and onions going. And the water from the frozen peppers is gonna help get the process really moving. And you can put, first I wanna put salt and pepper on here. I love pepper, so you're never gonna see me holding back on it. I like my food spicy, but you can do what's called sweating the onions and put the top on. It'll allow the onions and peppers to cook faster, but it also will get like a deeper flavor profile out of them when you sweat them. So I'm just gonna stir up the peppers now with all the herbs and the seasonings and the oil so that the herbs aren't at the bottom and they don't like burn, but that they're evenly incorporated into the whole amount of veggies. The flavors are immersing evenly and everything. So I'm gonna give that a quick lid. I did not, as you see, put the garlic in just yet because it is finely chopped garlic that I don't want to put it in now because it will burn by the time the onions and peppers are where I want them to be, which is like soft and translucent. In a lasagna, I don't really want a bite to my vegetables. I want it to kind of like be smooth, not pureed, but like in texture. I want it to be smooth like the sauce. So you don't want to cook these all the way because there's still going to be some cooking done while it's in the dish in the oven with all the sauce and ricotta and things. But you do want to sweat the onions and break down the sugars of the peppers. So by the time that the lasagna is done, they're at a soft consistency. But I don't want to start the garlic just yet because they take a lot less time than the onions and peppers. So, but right now is a good time to get the mushrooms in. So I'm gonna get those out. I swear, I love Whole Foods because, I mean, minus the fact that Amazon bought them, but in terms of the fact that of the original idea of the company and what ethics still stand of it today. And just a pure quality of products you can get from Whole Foods. I mean, I get all of my frozen vegetables and most of my frozen fruits from Whole Foods because it's just very high quality organic ingredients that taste amazing, and they fuel my body in the perfect way. And oh my goodness, if you could smell this right now, this smells amazing already. And also normally, y'all, I would be using like a garlic chili paste instead of the chili flakes, but I still need to get some of that from the store. Last time I ordered my groceries, they were out of garlic chili paste, so I could not order it. All right, so I'm gonna put this over here. And I'm gonna get the tomato like started in a few moments, but when the vegetables are done as much as I would like them to be before they go in the oven, then I'll add them to the sauce, or a little bit less, because they're gonna cook a little bit in the pot too with the sauce. Ideally, I would have started the peppers and onions and stuff in here and just added the sauce to it, but I forgot that I had this, so I didn't do that this time. But as you can see, the onions are starting to like break down a little bit. They changed color a little bit, and in the air you can just smell all this goodness. I'm gonna still just let them sweat just a little bit more before I get them in the sauce. And I might add the mushrooms now, because I want the mushrooms to absorb all of those seasonings really, really well. So we'll get these mushrooms sweating with them. And woo! I almost splattered some tomato sauce on me. So I'm gonna get the tomato sauces all in here, get my cans rinsed out and in the recyclables. These ones need a little, let's turn this one on. Can you tell I'm ADD? When I'm cooking, you can definitely tell. Or when I'm like cleaning around the house, you can definitely tell. I do a lot at once, and it might seem like very sporadic to other people, but it's like a list I'm like checking off in my head as I go. So you get all the tomatoes in there. And what you want to do always, before you do anything in cooking, is you want to taste. You want to taste it. So I've got the pot heating up, and I think let me put one more can in, just to be safe. Because tomato sauce is always good for on the top of the lasagna after it comes out as well. So later I can kind of ladle out some of the sauce and put it on the top of the lasagna after it's done. But let's get these peppers and onions and mushrooms moving, because it should be soon I add these to the sauce. They look so good. This is how any good lasagna starts though, guys, with good high quality vegetables, herbs, and aromatics. Look at that. Amazing. And I would say that these are ready to add to the sauce, because they're going to boil a little bit to get all of the flavors immersed. But let's do that tasting I was talking about. So you get a fresh spoon. Very tasty. It's pretty salty just naturally. So probably what I added to the vegetables is gonna be plenty in terms of salt. So I'm gonna get that in now. Just be as careful as you can because you don't want anything hot jumping back at you. By the way, y'all, I'm not talking to y'all as if you haven't cooked anything in your life because I think that you're stupid. It's just to be thorough in case this is somebody's first time cooking lasagna. So don't take it personally. I'm sure some of you are like seasoned champs in the kitchen and you know exactly what I'm doing and why. But for some people out there, they have never conquered their first lasagna. So maybe they're tuning in to see how I do it. Or how someone does it. So I got the peppers, onions, mushrooms. I might just do the garlic separately, to be honest. Since I know the garlic can burn easy, I'm just gonna do it by itself, to be honest. With some oil. Okay, a little bit of oil. The garlic. Garlic burns very fast, so, because it's so small. The way that I chopped it, because I want garlic throughout the entire dish, the flavor of it, the essence of it. So if you're not careful, you can burn garlic pretty fast. So you want to be super careful. And now that I added the vegetables into the sauce, I want to do another quick little taste while the garlic is starting. Very good. Very, very, very good. Ooh, it's spicy. I like spicy. All right, so get these all turned around, mixed into the oil well. Just gonna get the essence of the garlic started so that when I put it into the pot, and we're gonna turn down the sauce to like 2 on the stove, so it's just at a low simmer because it's starting to pick up here. And we don't want the bottom of the pot to start burning, because then when you start to stir the pot, it'll have like little burnt pieces that are stirring up into the sauce. We don't want that. So I turned this pot down to 2. And I'm just gonna keep the garlic moving, so sort of like the bottom of the saucepan. None of these little garlic pieces are getting more attention to the heat than the others. So they're all evenly browned, evenly cooked, and none of them are burnt. And they don't need long at all. If you could smell this, y'all. Amazing. Keep the sauce moving so it can heat up evenly. mean, I think that this looks really good. In just a moment, I'm gonna add it to the sauce because it's gonna add a lot of flavor. And you want all of this oil. All this oil has garlic in it as well. So I'm gonna get a little rubber spatula and get all of this oil. Get all of that oil in there. Sometimes with cooking, it's just a little bit of attention to detail. And that'll translate to a big, bold flavor in the end. So you want to stir in your garlic. And now that I have more attention that I can give to the sauce now, I'm gonna pick up the heat just a little bit to like 4. And what we want to see in the pot, guys, is a little simmer. We don't want big bubbles. We want a little simmer. So that all of those flavors that we put into the peppers, onions, and garlic and mushrooms, all of the flavors can immerse into the sauce. And traditionally in Italian food, they will simmer their sauce for like a whole day, and then they'll use it the next day. Or they'll start it really early, like 4 a.m., and then they'll use it that night. So the longer that you have your sauce on, the better. As long as you keep the temperature so where that it's just simmering, that it's not burning at the bottom, because all of those burnt pieces, like I said, will just get mixed into your whole pot and it'll taste burnt. You don't want that. You want to avoid that. And another thing I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add a lot of greens. And I pretty much might add most of these greens. I chose arugula just cause I love arugula. I'm not gonna lie, I love it. And I'll just leave a little bit in case I wanna make those fajitas I was talking about. And if you add greens at this point, when you're just in the simmering process, just give them a little stir and then put the lid on. But don't put the lid on and forget it at this point. Since we just turned up the heat, we want to keep an eye on all of what's happening in here, so to not burn anything. Alright, let me get the lid. I washed it. Okay, we're gonna give this some time. If you want, you can also add a little bit of nutritional yeast. I might, but I'm gonna get the water boiling for the pasta, just because the pasta can sit out when it's done for a little while, so it doesn't really matter. But something to really keep in mind about with gluten-free pasta is it can stick to itself a lot more than like traditional pasta. So you want to be careful when you're draining it, not to just leave it in there without touching it. Like, put a little bit of oil. When you're draining it, put a little bit of oil immediately. And it'll kind of allow the separate pieces to be separate. the last thing you want is for the pasta to be sticking together. So we're just gonna keep this moving because you don't want the bottom to burn. It smells amazing. And like we did earlier, since everything is in there, and I do this while I'm cooking, I just clean the spoon. Oops. We're just gonna give the sauce a little taste with a fresh spoon. That tastes amazing. It's very spicy. So if you don't like a lot of spice, I wouldn't add as much black pepper and I wouldn't add as much crushed red pepper. I added a good amount because I love spicy food, and I have all of these ingredients here to balance it out. Balance out the acidic with a more basic flavor profile, which the ricotta, the plant-based ricotta, will bring. So as well as getting the sauce on to immerse all the flavors as long as you possibly can, you kind of want the greens in there as long as you possibly can as well, because yes, the greens will break down in the oven a little bit, but you want to get it started because you don't really want a crunchy green in your lasagna. You don't. Put the lid on there. And I guess we're just gonna wait for this one to boil here, and then we'll get the pasta going. So I guess let me open this box. So we have the pasta ready here for when it's boiling. And then I can get the ricotta mixture started. So each of these containers has like a little liner in it to keep for freshness, but it's not recyclable, just so you know. So I want to put all of the liners, in the trash and put all of the containers in the recycling. Alright, so I've got the ricotta in here. What I'm gonna do is get it mashed up. So what you want to do is get this all mashed up. And then it's ricotta. And the original basis of my lasagna recipe is my dad's recipe, which is phenomenal, but I can't eat it because it's not gluten-free. It has meat in it and it has dairy in it, so I don't eat that anymore. But the basis of it is my dad's recipe. So he adds pepper, not a lot, because the rest of the sauce has a lot. You don't want every bit of the lasagna to be spicy, but you do want a little bit of flavor. You don't want it to be plain either. So, and if you want, you can add a little oil in here to kind of get it to like come together a little better and have a little flavor as well from the olives. And this looks amazing. Like I said, you don't want the ricotta to be like super flavorful, so we're not going to put anything spicy in there. We just added a little salt and pepper, and we can give this a taste. And I'm also going to give this pot over here a little stir because we don't want anything burning. It smells amazing. Put the temp down a little bit. Clean my spoon off. And give this a quick taste here. Because I want to make sure that maybe that's good. Initially I thought I needed something, but I think it's good because the salt kind of hit after. This is really good stuff. I'm so happy that brands are making nut-based dairy products, because without this I wouldn't be able to make vegan lasagna. I love lasagna with ricotta. What's lasagna without ricotta, man? I can tell you one thing, it's not as good. So this water it's seemingly almost boiling. It's pretty hot. We're just gonna put the lid back on this. I turned the temp down just a little bit just to make sure no boiling happens here. At this point we could also get the oven on, so I'm gonna set it for like let me set it for like 400, and I've got my baking pan right here. This sounds like it's boiling. We can't have that. Smells amazing. So spicy. So, as you can kind of see and hear, the peppers are translucent, but they're not like floppy. They're not floppy. They still have like structural integrity. So they're not completely cooked, because you don't want them to be completely cooked by the time they go into the oven. You want them to still have some bite to them. All right, water's almost ready. Guys, this smells amazing. If you could be here smelling this, I mean, you just have to cook it for yourself. And I believe in you, those who haven't perfected your lasagna recipe or made it ever. I believe that you can do it. So you can do it, man. Don't let your brain make you think that you can't do anything that you want to do. You can do anything that you want to do. So this sounds like pretty aggressive in terms of boiling. So I'm gonna get my noodles in there. Because I want to start that process. These are all gluten-free, so it's good stuff. Brown rice noodles, and they're made in Italy. So I can't tell this shit is not gluten. I can't tell it's gluten-free at all. It's really good. If you trust anyone to make your pasta, it's definitely someone from Italy, yeah? So as soon as you can get these fully submerged, I could add some more water. You want them to get fully submerged because you don't want some of the noodles cooked in some parts and the other side of the same noodle not cooked. So add some water there. So that's gonna slow the boiling point down. It's not gonna reach boiling point as fast, but that's kind of ideal because you don't want the pasta cooking faster on one side than another. So this is okay. It'll take a moment to heat back up. We'll give another stir to the sauce at that point. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So this is going to start boiling in just a moment. Now that I added some water that was cold. But in my dad's recipe, just for those of you who eat eggs, he does add, like, for this amount, he would probably add like 2 or 3 eggs, so that it's like a binder for the ricotta and the sauce. It'll kind of like bring them together instead of like the sauce like running or something. As it bakes, like the egg will help it like bind together. So those of you who eat eggs, you can add in eggs. This time I'm gonna try it without eggs, just to see. So the only eggs that I have in this recipe are in the gluten-free pasta that Italy made for me. It's good shit. When I worked at Whole Foods is when I found out about this brand, and then I tried it and I was like, people wouldn't even know it's gluten-free. People would not even know, y'all. It's amazing. So we're gonna recycle these two and these cans over here. Good thing the garbage people are coming in the morning. So everything is doing its thing over here. Just want to keep this moving so no burnt sauce happens. We don't want any burnt sauce here. And it hasn't happened so far, so far so good. Alright, now the pasta is starting to boil finally. So we want to keep an eye on these, but they will take a little longer than other pastas to boil. The thing is though, with lasagna noodles, you don't want to cook them all the way. You want to also leave a little bit of cooking to be done in the oven. So the way that you'll want to cook the lasagna noodles is a little bit less than you would actually want to eat them. I personally love my pasta like well done, but like I was saying, you don't want to cook these totally. So you just want to keep an eye on these. That's why some people get like par cooked pasta noodles, like oven ready pasta noodles for lasagna, because they can just put them into the layering and put them in. But we're not doing that here because I don't know if this brand makes those, and this brand is the best gluten-free pasta I've found, hands down. And I've tried Banza or whatever it's called. See, these are pretty good. See, these don't even need much longer, y'all. You don't need to boil them very long, because there's going to be a lot happening in the oven. So what I'm going to do is grab this lid to this pot. I bought this pot because it like strains itself with the lid. So I'm going to do that and just strain this pasta water out. Because all we needed to do was par bake the pasta noodles. We don't need to cook them all the way through. And the oven should be decently preheated so far. So, see? Perfect timing. So I'm gonna get an oven mitt and, well, I guess I could do it back here. Yeah, okay. So what you wanna do with the pan, I don't want it to be over the one that was boiling, because then the sauce will get burnt. But the sauce was over this one, so it'll be fine. So what I want to do is add a layer of sauce to the very bottom as the first layer of the lasagna. And it doesn't have to be like a very thick layer, it can be a thin layer. Just add a little bit more. Yeah. Perfecto. So I've made this with my dad, but I also like changed the recipe so much that I just kind of use my intuition with this as well. But now you're gonna add some lasagna. Ooh, it's hot, y'all. It's very hot. They're par baked or par boiled, so ooh, they're very hot, guys. Hot and slippery. So maybe it's ideal, y'all, to have like some tongs. I don't have any tongs. Or just wait a few minutes for these to calm down. But I'm just gonna go for it because I don't mind risk. I thrive in risk. So we kind of want like a half piece. So I'm gonna take these. Make some half pieces. And like I said earlier here, y'all, these noodles will stick together because they are gluten-free. So just be careful. Like I said earlier, you can add oil in there to help them, like massage oil in, but they're really hot, so I'm not about to touch them like that. But next layer is sauce with vegetables in there. All the vegetables, man. Goodness. Goodness, goodness, goodness. All throughout this lasagna. That stuff is so good for you, y'all. And I love saucy food, so I'm not light with that shit. Some greens, some peppers, some mushrooms. Oh yeah. So next we want to do a layer of cheese. And I'm gonna kind of just use my hands for this at first, because I want to make sure that I get it evenly. This sauce is kind of like clumpy, or this cheese is kind of clumpy. So I want to kind of break it up into little bits. I've kept my hands clean this whole time, guys. So it's no big deal as long as you keep washing your hands. It is actually kind of good for your soul to have some healing hands on your food while you're preparing it. But if I saw you doing this in a restaurant, I would fire you. Personally. So get you a good amount in there. Maybe a little bit more. Because you want to do like I want to do 2 layers of ricotta, so. So I want to make sure that I still have some over there, but kind of spread it out. And while this is baking, it'll kind of do that. It'll spread out, but I want to make sure that it's doing that. I don't want to get clumps of cheese, so I'm just gonna kind of like massage it together. Lasagna, 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 ooh, lasagna, oh. Alright, y'all, I think that looks fire. What I'm gonna do now is add another layer of pasta. Pasta. Oh, pasta. Alright. With all seriousness, I'm gonna grab another one of these that I cut in half. And another one of these bad boys. And it's just like a game of Tetris. Just layering that shit. Or Jenga if you like. But so now next we're gonna put some more sauce with all of the vegetables. All of the vegetables. If y'all could smell it, bro. If y'all could smell it in here. God damn. Shit smells fire, bro. My neighbor's probably wondering what I'm cooking, trying to have some. I might give her a piece tomorrow when she's on her lunch break. I most definitely will give her a piece. Because those of you who love lasagna, who may have made lasagna before, it's usually pretty fucking smack the second day. So I'm gonna do the same thing I did before, just so that I know it's like pretty even. Just break it up into little bits, so it's super easy to smooth it in with the sauce. This cheese is so good. It's made out of almond milk. Kite Hill has a lot of good items, but this cheese is one of my favorites, to be honest. Because now I can make dairy-free, gluten-free lasagna. And I've made this lasagna before for people that eat meat, and they were like, this is the best lasagna I've ever had. So, I hope y'all are taking notes here. You should try cooking this for somebody who eats meat and see how they like it, because it's honestly very good. And I recommend that you either use your own herbs that you have in your garden, or go to the store and get a pack of rosemary, thyme, and like basil, and use those in the recipe instead of the dried herbs like I used. It's still good, but it's like a whole nother level good when you use fresh herbs. So we got the ricotta in there. We want to give it a little massage in, just like before, because we want to make sure that the cheese and the sauce are doing their little things instead of little dollops. I don't personally want to have like little plain clumps of cheese. I want it to be well incorporated. So just a little massage left and right till all of this looks good. Whoop, that's a pastilla. Okay, get that right there. Perfect. And maybe if you like, you could just boil 1 box. I think that should be enough. I'm gonna have extra, so I might make like manicotti or something. With the rest of the noodles. Because I have a lot left. Put that there. And it doesn't have to be like perfectly pretty, but any place that you don't see pasta, you kind of want to put it there because the pasta will kind of like keep everything structurally sound. And for the last like layer, because you don't want like a bunch of noodles just on the top of your lasagna, right? You want, let's get this out of the way. You want, you know, sauce and cheese. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put some sauce to top off the lasagna. And look at all these veggies, guys. That shit is so good for you. All of this. I can't wait to eat this, to be honest, guys. I'm getting hungry now. I made pizza the other day. Didn't turn out too great because turns out the gluten-free vegan like chorizo that I found at Whole Foods had like smoked paprika in it, and I really don't like smoked paprika. I like regular paprika, but smoked paprika like tastes like barbecue sauce to me, and I really don't like barbecue sauce. So I didn't like the pizza after all, but I still ate most of it because I'm trying not to be wasteful. But alright, y'all, this is like a done deal. Now all that's left is to put the cheese on the top. And this stuff tends to melt pretty well, so that's why I chose it, and it tastes pretty good. I'm sure you all have tried like the chow slices. It's pretty, it's the same shit, it's just shredded. So be generous on the top because the cheese is gonna brown at the end. We'll take the top off because you wanna make lasagna with the top on it in the oven. But at the end we'll broil the top to melt the cheese and get a good color on it. So it's just 1 bag of the chow cheese, and she is ready for the oven. So I personally don't use plastic wrap or aluminum foil. I just use like parchment paper. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put that right on top, and to keep it staying there, I'm gonna put a towel over it in the oven. I'll show you all. Hold on one moment. So just put it over it so it kind of gets weight to it, so the paper doesn't just fly off, like it's actually like kind of sealed. So we have to get the oven open here, and I'm gonna put the lasagna in. And if you're afraid of the, I don't know, if you end up doing it my way and use a towel like that instead of aluminum foil, because it's not really easy to recycle it, you can just spray the towel with water and it's not gonna catch fire, y'all. I'm gonna go grab some water just in case. And a lasagna, I have it on 400. We can bake it for like 30 to like 45 minutes and then uncover it and broil it for like 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm gonna keep my mind on that kind of timing and go grab a water bottle to spray it. So it's time for me to clear all this mess. So I will get back to you all in a few moments. All right, the kitchen is cleaned. Just have the pot with the sauce in the ladle and some olive oil out in the oven mitt. Because we're gonna use the sauce later when we're serving it, to just put a little bit of sauce on the top. And if you want, you could put your sauce on low. I'm gonna put it on low just to keep it at temp and not in the danger zone. It's definitely not in the danger zone yet because I just finished cleaning up like 2 seconds ago. But yeah, the lasagna is in there and I sprayed some water, so it's all good stuff. So y'all, it's probably been about 20 minutes, 25 minutes since we put this in here. So I'm just gonna lift off this and take a look at what's going on. Oh yeah, okay. I think it's time to take this off and hopefully I can get it so that the cheese stays. I'm gonna have to use both hands though, so I'll be right back with y'all. So as y'all see, the cheese has melted, but what we wanna do is get a little browning on the lasagna. So we wanna put it back in without its covering, and we wanna turn broil on the oven. And this is the most trickiest thing that you can do of the whole entire process, because broil on an oven is a very fast thing. This is an opportunity where you can burn the fuck out of lasagna, so you have to watch this the entire time broil is on. It'll only take, like I said, between 2 to 3 minutes to brown the top on broil. So if you're looking at your oven, the top of the oven is where the broiler element is. It's gonna get hot red, and that's when the lasagna will start to brown. And like I said, it won't take very long, so I'm watching it. You can't see because this oven's really old and it's baked a lot of things, but I'm watching it. This is gonna be so good, guys. It's gonna be amazing. So a little more time. And I'm gonna get some hemp hearts out, because when I plate it, I'm gonna use hemp hearts. This is like an old jelly jar, but I put some hemp hearts in there. These are my to-go hemp hearts when I'm taking food for lunch at work. But like I said, we have to be very careful with this broil element. Here, I'll show y'all. See, it's bright red on the top. It's instead of like the oven warming the whole thing, it's just warming from the top. That's what broil is. And it's really easy to burn shit with broil, so you have to be very careful. The cheese did a pretty good job melting so far, but I do want to melt it just a little bit more. And I'm dying to taste this. Vegan cheese does take longer than normal cheese, so that's why I'm still broiling it. This looks fantastic, I'm not gonna lie, because I know what's inside there, man. And honestly, it looked like the covering was super effective for the cheese, the vegan cheese. So if you wanted to leave the cheese covered longer, I'm sure that it'll continue to melt like that. But we'll see if we get any luck with it being broiled. This is what my dad does with like regular cheese, so I'm hoping that it works with vegan cheese too. It looks like it's bubbling, so that's what we want. That's what we want, is for it to like bubble a little bit. I'll just give it some more time, and I'm gonna keep checking on it. When I take it out of the oven, I'll let you guys see what it looks like. All right, y'all, so this is about as done I could get the cheese before it started burning. As you can see, the majority of it melted in. So this is impressive because it's vegan cheese, so it's not the most easiest thing to melt vegan cheese, but this chow cheese is pretty good. So I highly recommend it. But now I'm gonna plate it, y'all. All right, so I've got my plate, and you wanna get you a nice piece. This is my dinner, so I'm trying to get me a nice piece. And the first cut is always the hardest to get out, so I'm trying to be careful. Ooh. For plating's sake, but that's all right. Still is gonna taste delicious, even though it's not gonna be plated perfectly. And you can see how creamy that cheese got, that ricotta cheese got. Amazing. So what I like to do, because what my dad does for his recipe, is he actually takes like smooth sauce and puts it on the top. So I'm just gonna avoid the vegetables. And put it on the top. And I have an uncle that's Italian, so I think my dad kind of learned some tricks from him. So this might not be the most authentic because it's like vegetarian and doesn't have cheese in it as well, but it's fucking delicious. And for the presentation and for protein and omega-3s, I put hemp seeds on it. This is the finished product, lasagna at Kelsey's house. I'm gonna just cover this sauce. I turned the burner off and I'm covering the sauce, and I'm gonna taste it and eat it so y'all can know just how good it is. Let's dig in. Obviously, this is gonna be hot as fuck, y'all, so don't be stupid like me and eat it too fast. I just wanna taste it. I just wanna taste it so bad. Got the arugula, ricotta, the sauce. I see a mushroom there. It's good stuff, y'all. So good. It's good stuff, y'all. If you want to make this lasagna, I highly recommend it. If you can't do gluten or dairy or meat, this is a good recipe based off of my dad's recipe, which he is the best chef that I know. He doesn't work as a chef, but he cooks with passion and cares about flavor profiles more than anyone I know. He has the best palate of anyone I know. And so this recipe is based off of his, but with my own twist based on what is good in my body personally. But I mean, y'all, if you don't try it, I think you're missing out, to be honest. I would love to see what you all are making after seeing this video. If you want to send me a tag in your story on Instagram or something, I'll put my Instagram link below. And if you end up making lasagna after seeing this recipe, I would love to see how it turns out. And hopefully I inspire you to just cook whatever you want to cook. So I hope you all have a great night. I'm gonna eat this lasagna and watch some Gilmore Girls, and I hope you all have a great rest of your night. Stay hydrated, y'all. You're crazy. You're crazy.